Serious, people who have slept with their boss for a promotion raise, was it worth it? I slept with a camp director and she gave me a good job as a camp counselor. I had a higher salary than all the other counselors. Would do it again in a second. Edit. This is a day camp. I'm not sure this counts. Though. Because the iron law of summer camp is that everyone on staff is boinking everyone. All the time. Hell. The 16-year-old me got to third base at camp. And if you'd known me then, you'd understand how big a statement that is. Edit. Exception acknowledged for overwhelmingly single SX camps. Like BSA. Exception not acknowledged for Bible camps. Like mine. Teenagers gone a teen. I was the boss sleeping with my employee. She was a very mediocre employee to begin with. Raging alcoholic. Would come to work looking like hell with black eyes and wet hair. Never on time. After we started sleeping together, I think she developed the attitude that she had to start performing better at work or it would be obvious there was something going on when she didn't get fired. Within a few weeks she's a model employee. Probably far better than even I was. She received several small lateral promotions within a few months. One I was involved in and one I was not. We ended up dating for over a year while I was still her boss before we both left the business. We both started looking for other employment because of our relationship and found better jobs with better pay. A few years later we are still together and now living together and engaged. Removed. I slept with my boss. We were all out having drinks and were sharing a cab. She told the driver to just drop both of us off at her place and I gladly went with it. I transferred to another department shortly thereafter because we both agreed it was weird now. Unbeknownst to me, I was giving a raise and a new title when I transferred. I always thought of it as a reward for being discreet. I had sex with her because she was a hot older woman. The raise I got later was unexpected. It seems to me like the men that sleep with their bosses have far more positive experiences than the women. I slept with my boss. Got a raise. And now I'm married to him. It was a good life choice. Moved. I slept with my boss and ended up quitting the job before she could give me any sort of promotion. Mostly because we were moving towards having a relationship and I didn't want that power dynamic to muddy it. Pretty awesome. She sat on my face. And I got $3 more an hour to lifeguard the local pool. Best summer job I ever had. Edit. Faster sitting got me a $3 raise and Reddit gold. Boom. Every lifeguarding job I've ever worked. Everyone was sleeping with everyone else. Bosses included. Lifeguards are just pretty at FCK. When I was in high school I worked at a pretty large movie theater in my area. It was a lot like a restaurant in the sense that everyone is fking everyone and partying most nights together. We had a very cute manager who was probably about 30ish and pretty strict on most of the guys who worked there. Mainly because we were little high school shitty heads that thought we were the cat's pajamas. Anyway, I hooked up with her after a party and it was great. We became FWBs and since she was in charge of the time clock she would often clock me in a couple hours early on slow days before I showed up, so I was getting paid full-time 40 hours weeks while only working about 20 hours. She would also have me stay late to clean up after late shows and we would FCK in the regional manager's office since it was the only one without cameras. And because the regional manager was a fear-mongering bitch. I joke that I fired my ex-wife so I could FCK her. She FK'd me in the end. And half the town. I'm sad. I slept with my boss at the time. And we secretly hid our relationship for several months. In the end, he told his superiors that we were together and it was he that ended up getting the promotion and raise. He was taken away from being my direct supervisor. So our relationship could be out in the open. We were married 4 years later. Close bracket. Edit. We were in our very early 20s at the time. To sum up this thread. Guys. Sleep with your female bosses. Get raises, or don't. You got laid. Who cares? No problems. Girls. Marry your boss or change jobs. Sometimes both. When I was just 18, I had just come out of high school. And I desperately needed a job. I was able to get a job that pays $12 an hour at some guy's small business. The catch is I had to sleep with him. That money was great. But it was really awkward whenever I saw him. I needed the money though. So I would do it again. Edit. I only had to sleep with him once. Boss here in education. I slept with one of my workers. Eventually it moved to a serious relationship and I helped him get a job at his dream engineering firm. Now we're planning on getting married. No regrets. Best decision of my life. I slept with my boss. Granted, we had to file a form to claim we were in a close personal relationship first. He tried to help me get hired elsewhere so it wouldn't be such a conflict. Then he explained what being in that job for 20 years was like. The politics of it all. How everyone hates it after a few years and burns out. So I quit the job and now I'm going for a law degree. Still with him over a year later and couldn't be any happier if I tried. And I think he feels the same. Best decision of my life. I can't even fathom my life without him. He was worth all the stigma and hours changes and pay lost for taking time off to be with him. Not a boss but one of my professors at my university. She was in her late 30s 40 and I was 21-22. It was her first year at the school and was having a rough time meeting people. She was having car troubles so I offered to help her out while I was visiting during her office hours. She offered to feed me dinner. And I was more than happy. We started drinking and ended up in bed. We had a casual relationship for most of the year until I unfortunately had to move after graduating. When finals came around, she told me not to worry about the final 15-page research paper. Hell yeah. But to be completely fair, I was a really good student with a solid A in her class before we started hooking up. Kinda relevant. I had an FWB who was the manager at a store that opened in our town. And I think that had something to do with me getting hired. No experience whatsoever. It was generally a nice experience. I got a ton of special treatment and a couple free lunches. It also didn't hurt that he was in the closet. And I'm sure he appreciated my discretion. Slept with my boss. She wasn't hot but cute and I had never been with a curvy girl before. We left a company awards ceremony and had a long drive back to our branch to 1/2 HRS. Well, long story short, she ended up giving me roadhead and we pulled over to FCK. It was fun and we continued our relationship for about 6 months. It ended when she was promoted to regional manager because she was always traveling to different branches. Never got a raise nor a new position. I got to brag to my buddies though. You could have been promoted to assistant to the regional manager. At least. Slept with my boss when I was 17 and she was 24. No forethought to promotion or a raise. But just because she was an older woman. SI and I was crap with women at the time. It was all good in the end. Happened a couple of times. I got privileges like the hours I wanted at work and in the sections I wanted as well as a side benefit. Left the job when I went to university and all was good. I would do it again most likely but not for promotion or advancement but just because it was good fun. Have slept with a co-worker a couple of times. I would say that was more problematic than with my boss. I must admit there are bosses I've had that I would have liked to have slept with. Not for promotion or a raise but because there is something very attractive about a woman in power. She wasn't all that bad looking. I didn't get a raise but it got her so far off my back because she was afraid of the consequences. She hated me before. She was terrified of me after the fact. It was beautiful. I didn't do anything for the rest of the summer. Also, it helped that I was 17 and she 32. Edit. Holy shit, thanks for the karma guys. She hated you so much she FK'd you? Yeah. When I was young. She was a sub from the downtown branch. Introduced me to some terrible music. Treated me so well in bed. I guess I had it easy after that. But we served ice cream. It was already super basic. When I was 16 I worked at MC Donald's. I ended up secretly dating 2IC and got pay raises. More breaks and could choose my hours rolls, which was pretty sweet. Wasn't intentional though. Sorry, but what's 2IC? I do some freelance work as a reporter and actually just agreed to a SZL relationship with an editor of a local newspaper I really want to write for. He's 27 years my senior, but the tabooness of it is enticing and exciting. And the obvious advantages work-wise that come with it won't be too shabby either. Kinda feel just a little bit guilty about it, but hey, he's like a George Clooney in the town I live in, so why not? Removed. I slept with him because I had been attracted to him for years. I continued to advance despite our forbidden encounters based on my quality of work. My mother slept with her boss. Married him. Started her own company and is now a millionaire. True story. Think it was worth it for her. Well, I slept with one of my bosses when I was in high school working at Wendy's. But it was just because she was hot and gave me vodka. She made the schedule so we always closed together. Best nights ever. I slept with my boss, then bragged about it to my co-workers. She was livid and never talked to me again. Using a throwaway for the obvious reasons. It was totally worth it. I went into the job as an underqualified walk-on making minimum wage, and now I'm making over $50,000 a year. It really wasn't as easy as you'd think, and I did plenty of things I regret. I didn't just sleep with the boss. I also slept with potential clients and others on his request to secure accounts and enhance business relations. Some of them have some really weird preferences, but I always did my best to accommodate them. One of the clients is actually trying to steal me away from my current boss, and I think I might take up her offer. Not for the pay. It's not much better. But because I like the job more. Isn't that basically just prostitution? Doesn't that have a major impact on your self-respect? I slept with the manager of the year to get a job. It wasn't an agreement or anything. But I knew I'd be applying at his bar, so the week before I did, I brought him back to my place and FK'd him silly. Not only did he give me the job immediately when I applied, but kept telling me I turned him into a size queen. It was a fun place to work and a boost for the ego. 10/10 would FCK for work again. I was 22. Part-time working my first non-food industry job. And my direct boss was 45. She was from California and had a cool laid-back hippie vibe. And we got along really well. She made it clear that a fast-track option to getting moved to full-time existed, with the path running straight through her bedroom on weekends when her husband was traveling. I got moved up to full-time a month later. Definitely worth it. I still enjoy remembering how beautiful she looked during August MS. Not really my boss, but I hooked up with my boss brother. My boss ended up firing me when he found out, but we've been together for over a year now and just welcomed our son a month ago. I hated that job, so I guess I didn't get a promotion, but I definitely gained more than I lost. Slept with my boss's wife numerous times when I was 18. Boss found out. Fired me, threatened to murder me. 10/10 would do again. Best BGs of my entire life. Attention. Please keep in mind that the OP of this thread has chosen to mark this post with the serious replies only tag. Therefore, any replies that are jokes, puns, off topic, or are otherwise non-contributory will be removed. If you see others posting comments that violate this tag, please report them to the mods. Thanks for your cooperation and enjoy the discussion. I am a bot. Our auto moderator comments Q11 per what is auto moderator. And this action was performed automatically. Please contact the moderators of this subreddit. Message compose to equals %2FR%2F ask Reddit if you have any questions or concerns. I was a Black Hawk door gunner in Iraq 2010. My platoon leader was a first LT female helicopter pilot who was hot as hell. I was a male SPC. Fraternization between enlisted and commissioned officers are a no-no in the army. But that did not stop me from pursuing my dream. What began as a conquest mission turned into a love affair between platoon leader and a lower enlisted soldier. After 3 months of us hiding our relationship, the inevitable happened. We were caught. I was let off easy with a field grade Article 15. But she was forced to resign her commission. We have been married 6 years and have 3-week-old baby girl. It turned out great. Edit. I met my now wife during my 0709 deployment. By my 2010 deployment we were already married. MMMM. Iraq 2010. The year is 2014 and yet you have been married for 6 years? This makes a certain sense tingle. Might you be bullshitting us? Dear sir? What about a boss's daughter? I've done that twice. 2 different bosses. 2 different daughters. SX was amazing with both. And both those girls are gorgeous. Probably the 2 hottest girls I've ever been with. But the sacredness and walking on eggshells and afraid for my life that they maybe knew was not fun. I'm not sure I'd do that again. Yay. Yeah, I probably would actually. Scrolling down through the first 10 or so top rated comments. It's amazing how the stories told by male redditors have a lot of comments of support and jokes. And the stories told by female redditors have a lot of comments demanding more info and putting them down. And by amazing I mean kind of a bummer.